Well, thank you very much. My name is Stephen Scott, and some of you may be expecting somebody else to be giving this presentation, as we do have Gordon Stevenson, the past general manager here from Canada. But Gordon retired in 2013, and I took over for him, but he agreed to come and grade me on my report. So if you could applaud really loudly at the end, I'll get a good grade. This year at the Canadian Hereford Association, we celebrated our 125th year as an association in Canada. So we took that across the country, and that went over very well. Hereford, as you know, has been in Canada for over 150 years, so it has quite a heritage in the country and has been well supported, and you'll see that in the commercial cattle populations when I go over those. In Canada, we have 35 million people and about 10 million square kilometers of land. Our agricultural lands are about 67 million hectares, and that's about 230,000 farms of all different types. Our beef production is made up about 11.9 million cattle, 10 million of those being beef, the rest being dairy, and that would make up cows, calves, bulls, breeding heifers in that 10 million. And Canada being a market that is very reliant on exports, we produce 2.7 billion pounds, which is actually down this year 9%. As you might know, our North American and global cattle populations are at an all-time low, or not all-time, but a 30-year low. Live, we export 382 million pounds, which is down 32%, just because we didn't have the cattle in Canada to send over the U.S. for feeding or slaughter. That breaks down to 220,000 fed cattle, going mostly to the U.S., 300,000 feeder calves, and 230,000 non-fed cattle that we export from Canada annually. Just our statistical report. So this is a brief breakdown of our annual registrations, not our cow herd enrollment. So you can see there in 2012 we registered 13,000 new animals, and this is annually we would bring those cattle into our herd book. So in 2015 we're just pretty staying across the board. It's pretty level, 12,640 with an annual membership of 1,650 members. Above that, you'll see our sales averages just graphed out. My apologies for not having 2015 in there. They actually go in our 2015, our August reports when we send them out, so 2015 hasn't been calculated yet. But as you can see, we've had a lot of demand for Hereford bulls, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here with the commercial cow herd. But we've been seeing increases in prices and increased demand for our Hereford bulls and females across the board, and definitely have been continued demand on the Hereford side. The reason for that continued demand is we've actually got the lowest beef cow population that we've ever had, or since 2005 in Canada anyways. You can see we've gone through a very big liquidation period, and we're still setting up for expansion. Unlike the US, who is already into an expansion period, we aren't yet to reach that point. So last year, our average 5-6 weight steers sold for $305 per hundredweight, and our fed steers sold for $182 per hundredweight on average over the year. When we look at our Alberta cow-calf returns, you can see that the cow-calf guys are really actually starting to turn over some money, which they haven't turned over in quite a long time. So we're seeing $700 in excess of revenue per head on the cow-calf level. And so that's where we've really been marketing into, getting into those herds. But we're seeing a lot of profitability there, and we know there's a lot of things that Hereford bulls and females have as a value statement to these guys in the commercial industry. So that's where we've really been spending a lot of time. The CHA is committed to making Hereford the most profit-oriented efficiency breed in Canada. We're increasing our commercial acceptance of Hereford bulls and females as robust, versatile cattle that can do more with less. Our Canadian cow herd over the last 20 years has become more and more black. So what we've been seeing is that guys have been reaching out to a cross to come away from that black side and add a little bit of power and punch back into their cow herd and their calves. And this has been, Hereford has been a choice that's been growing and growing. With that, we've been doing a lot of research on feed efficiency and continuing our growth and performance recording. As well, the Hereford cow we know is a maternal powerhouse and has lots of longevity. So these are really big value statements when we get into the commercial industry and marketing these cattle. So that's where we've really been focusing. Our commercial cow herd historically is around 30% Hereford influence, so that's about 1.2 million cows in the beef cow calf industry that would actually have some Hereford in the background. So a fairly widely accepted crossbred animal, and people really do recognize the value of a black baldy, which we've heard many times here today. So this is just one of our marketing ideas for Hereford as a crossbred, one breed for every need. There's lots of different reasons to use a Hereford bull or a female, but we're just getting that mindset out there and really starting to reach out to commercial producers more and more with a quality product. We also, for the purebred side, have ways for people to exhibit their cattle. We have 3 national shows. Our Eastern National, which is at the Royal Winter Fair, which is held in early November. Farm Fair International, which is held in Edmonton, which is in early November. And our National Hereford Show at the Canadian Western Agribition, which is later in November. All 3 of these have international programs, and so we do reach out to those of you in the crowd. If you are interested in coming to Canada and you want to pick up a show, let us know at the association. We can put you in touch with the people at the show that run the international programs. They're great programs. They actually offer government funding back to you to refund some of your costs for your travel, so it can make it a little bit more of an incentive for you to come up and look at Canada in the winter. It's not maybe the warmest time of year to come, but you'll definitely see some good cattle on display at these shows. We are also part of the Pan American Cattle Evaluation and have been for a while. The Canadian Hereford Association continues to take part in this. We've launched with the US and Argentina, launched our genomically enhanced EPDs in 2015. We're moving from 2 single pace runs a year to 2 pace runs plus 6 CHA, AHA evaluations in 2015 to provide more current evaluations. The reason we're moving this way isn't specifically to provide more performance data updates to those EPDs, but it's more on the genomically enhanced EPD side, where people are paying for those tests and would like a result back a lot quicker than twice a year. So to provide that back to the members so that they can put it in their bull sale catalogs, we're providing more runs throughout the year. One of our research topics is genomically enhanced EPDs, so we started that in 2014, 2015. Uptake's been slow, but I anticipate we'll be around 2,500 to 3,000 animals annually for the next couple years, at least, just depending on, for testing anyways, for genomically enhanced EPDs. In 2016, we've moved to all AI certificate bulls. In-herd AI bulls and donor dams have to have a GE and be genomically tested, and we really we have 2 great funders that have put a lot of money into genomic research in Canada, I'd say over the last 7 years, and they've really helped to move the genomics ball forward in Canada. Another research point for us is residual feed intake. This is something that we've really focused on in the last few years. Gordon started it off before he left, and in 2012 we started a 3-year residual feed intake project that has gone over to a 4th year now, and we've got 1,600 Canadian bulls RFI tested and HD genotyped, and we've got a bunch of professors and geneticists working on it actually here while we're here, crunching the data and combining it with the Uruguayan data set to get us RFI GEPDs so that we can start disseminating that information through the pedigree and getting more phenotypes back and doing more research on residual feed intake, which is a very economically relevant trait. Well, one thing we also prescribe to and have done for 30 years now, and the success is really evident when you go into Canada, is our CJHA program. This is just a leadership development program within Canada. We actually have our president, Cassandra Gorel, here representing the CJHA at the World Hereford Conference, so thank you for her for coming. It's run by 14 national council members and has a membership of around 900 annually in Canada, so very well attended and very active kids, and have become leaders in the industry for sure. We also run a foundation.
Sorry, 1 more minute, please.
We also work with the foundation. This was designed in memory of Keith Gilmore. He was the founder of the Canadian Hereford Digest. Keith supported youth agricultural and ag journalism education. And in the 1980s, the Keith Gilmore Foundation was formed and the endowment was started. We give out a bunch of different scholarships from there. We give out the Future of the Breed scholarships, which is specific for Hereford kids and CJHA members. We give 4 of those out at $1,000 each year. The Keith Gilmore Hereford Youth Scholarship, which we give out to any kid who's going to school for anything, as long as they're going to have an agriculture in their future. Maybe they'll have farming on the side, and they've worked with Hereford cattle in the past. We give up to 4 of those away at $2,500, and new this year, the Keith Gilmore Prize, we can give up to 2 at $10,000, and those are for really outstanding individuals, leaders in the beef industry, not specifically Hereford cattle, but leaders that are going to go on and make our industry a lot more profitable for the Canadian beef industry and make sure it's sustainable into the future. And so we actually have one of those winners with us here at the conference this week. Her name is Ellen Crane. She's here with her brother Bennett. Say hi to her. She's doing research in RFI, and he's doing research in plant genetics. So 2 leaders in the beef industry that have Hereford cattle that are really going to be there prominent in the future in Canada. So we thank them for coming so much and having them in the breed. And that's all I've got. They told me to hurry. And thank you all to the organizers. And
thank you.